I'm very happy to introduce Ambassador Sandhu. And Ambassador Sandhu, I also, besides politics, do strategic conversations. And I promise you, this is going to be sticking to Indo-US strategic partnership. Ambassador Sandhu, the floor is yours to make your opening comments on how you've straddled and the context of you having this unique position of straddling from the Trump administration and India's relationship to now Biden administration and India's relationship.
Prime Minister's visit to the United States was a testament to the enduring strength of our partnership. In the United States, relations with India have had bipartisan support, whether in the US Congress or in the White House. You would remember Prime Minister Modi's historic address to the US Congress in 2016, where he spoke about overcoming the hesitations of history. I have been witness to this transformation, having dealt with this relationship for nearly 25 years. From a time when our relations were colored by Cold War politics, India US partnership has indeed come a long way, built on shared democratic and pluralistic values and connected by linkages of a large Indian American diaspora. If you ask me what has led to this transformation, I would say increasing trust in our relationship. In the US, we see a very close friend and a strong partner who is critical to transforming the dreams and the development aspirations of 1.3 billion people into reality. On the India-US ties today, I would like to make 5 broad points regarding what makes this partnership of bilateral and global significance. One, India-US relationship is people-driven, people-centric. People like you set the benchmark. Your aspirations guide us, and we need to live up to your expectations. Our real success is measured by how quickly and how effectively as governments we are able to match your expectations. And in this, industry, civil society, intelligentsia, strategic community, and fora like PAFI all have an important role to play. Two, India-US relationship creates huge positive advantages for the world. It is not just in the interest of India or US alone. A stronger India-US relationship is in the interest of the world. It brings with it global good. For example, when we combine US technology and India's manufacturing power, we make a huge difference. Given the true potential in this relationship, I feel there's a lot that remains to be achieved. And each one of us here has a role to play in transforming that potential into reality. The immediate priorities in this partnership can be grouped in 5 baskets: healthcare cooperation, the energy partnership, particularly renewable energy and climate action, the knowledge and education partnership, the tech and innovation cooperation, including cyber, digital, and startups, and the defense and strategic partnership. Each of these fields represent not only areas of G2G cooperation, but expanding economic opportunities. We can go deeper into some of these during our interaction. Now, before I conclude, I just have a thought to share. Given the broad canvas of our relationship, it's always important to look at the big picture. We need to have a broad vision. We cannot afford to work in silos or look at things piecemeal. All that we do should be building blocks of a large canvas. And that should be the guiding principle for way forward. Friends, you and I belong to a rich tradition where father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, taught us, in a gentle way, you can shake the world. India and the United States are destined just to do that for a richer, safer, stronger, and better world. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Sandhu. That was extremely comprehensive and makes some of us realize that yes, India-US relationship does not have to be looked through a third country lens or even from regime to regime change. there are constants that exist between the two nations, and those constants are something that both countries have respected over decades, and that gives us a lot of confidence. Ambassador Sandhu, the question I want to ask you is, we are seeing the global pandemic and the manner in which it has impacted countries across the globe. There was a statement that came in from the United States when India resumed its vaccine exports. The question I want to ask you is, have these challenges of the pandemic, the fact that India is in a position where it can export vaccinations, there is manufacturing, and there is a indigenously made vaccination in India. Today, we have also completed the 100 crore vaccination landmark. Um, I'm just saying the challenge of the pandemic, does it or did it play a little bit of a cementing factor in the meeting that was held between the Prime Minister and President Biden just last month?
So, Navika, first, let me share it's a very proud moment today for us. And I can tell you that there is very strong and deep appreciation in the United States that we have crossed the 1 billion landmark, and all through the vaccines manufactured in India. You have absolutely mentioned about the Prime Minister's visit here. This was, as I have indicated there, it was a very successful, it was a landmark visit, both from the bilateral perspective and the Quad perspective. And we have to just look at the joint statements which have been put out both on the bilateral front and the Quad front, and they will very clearly indicate to us that this is a strong visit. This had happened in an atmosphere of the pandemic, which is very unprecedented. Here we are still almost seeing 80,000 to 90,000 cases per day. So that's the kind of scenario in which the visit took place. But it showed the commitment of both the leaders that they met in person. And as I have indicated in my opening speech, healthcare was one of the very important areas. And when I say healthcare, I do keep in mind that both United States and India are also focused on what we call is an affordable healthcare. It's one of the priorities of President Biden here. And in affordable healthcare, you have affordable vaccines and affordable medicines. I don't know if you are aware that even at present, India is supplying almost 50 to 60% of generic drugs in the United States. So that's the depth of the relationship and to the extent it can go. I'll just give you one example. You know, about 6 years ago, we collaborated, that is United States and India partnered in co-producing another vaccine for another virus called rotavirus. You know, this co-production and partnership finally resulted in the cost of this vaccine coming down from $60 to $1. And we were together able to supply it to many of the developing countries, Africa and Latin America. So that's the kind of depth which our relationship has. Now, coming to the Quad, I just want to take 2 minutes there. The Prime Minister has described it as a force of global good. And I think the happening of the Quad Summit, and earlier we had the first virtual Quad Summit in March, definitely indicated that the center of economic and political gravity is Indo-Pacific region. And of course, I'm sure you know the origins of Quad. It was essentially a product when the tsunami had come. But today, the group is focused on delivering tangible results. And here, if I can just mention to you that 3 very clear practical areas of cooperation. One is COVID-19 vaccines. second is climate change, and third is critical technology. And here we are using each other's complementary strengths to work together. For example, in vaccines, it is the US technology, Johnson & Johnson in this case, it's the Japanese financing, India's bulk manufacturing capability, it's BioE here, and it's going to produce 1 billion vaccines. And do remember that that production will happen in India. So the capacity building is going to happen in India. It's already underway. And finally, Australia's lift pump. Similarly, we have also got into other areas, including public health, and as I've mentioned, Quad critical emerging technologies. And in that, 5G, semiconductor supply chains, development of inclusive technical standards, advanced biotechnologies, etc. And 4-5 new areas: space, cyber security, infrastructure, education. Education for the first time has come in. There is Quad Fellowship Program that would enable STEM students from 4 countries to study in each other countries. So essentially, this meeting resulted in very practical, people-oriented, and also for global good decisions.
Very well stated, Ambassador Sandhu. Ambassador Sandhu, while the Prime Minister was in the US, there was this face-to-face Quad meeting. With your ringside view of that meeting, people who are attending this particular session would want to know what are the next steps for strengthening this coalition of Quad countries, and how is it going to take forward the strategic interests of India in the field of both technology and trade?
So as I just indicated to you that Quad is a much wider initiative, and it has essentially undertaken actual tangible issues and has a positive agenda. And the areas of COVID-19 vaccines, climate change, critical technologies, they are very much there. But this time, in addition, we have also touched upon, as I've mentioned to you, space. In space, there'll be exchange of satellite data, there's monitor and adapt to climate change, disaster preparedness, then sustainable uses of oceans and marine resources. And finally, responding to challenges in shared dominions. Similarly, in cyber state, there is government and industry which will be coming together, and they'll be the driving force. They are focusing on cyber standards, secure software, workforce and talent building, and finally, have secure and trustworthy digital infrastructure. In infrastructure itself, we are going to be undertaking mapping of the region infrastructure needs, then providing technical assistance to each other, and also promoting sustainable infrastructure development. And I've already mentioned to you about the education. So therefore, we can expect in the coming days, and especially in the next 2 and 3 years, that Quad will be undertaking focused, people-oriented, practical measures which will benefit not only the region, Indo-Pacific, and also world at large. And as I've indicated earlier, the strengthening of Quad is a very clear indication that Indo-Pacific is the priority. And here I just want to take a minute. You will recall some months back, in fact, to be precisely when Secretary Austin was being introduced. At that time, there was a slip. People started saying that with Biden administration, the priority will be back on Asia Pacific. But as you can see from there to now, and Quad itself has given a very clear signal that Indo-Pacific.
On the aspect of trade, the kind of potential that exists, do you think we've quite achieved that potential, or do you think there is more that can be done, and what are the steps that we could take in the near future to push the envelope on that?
Our trade engagement, no doubt, is an issue that is very significant, and not just for companies, but also for our respective governments. Now, India and US do have a robust trade and economic partnership. Today, United States is our largest trading partner. We have touched 150 billion in 2019. There's double-digit growth in the last 10 years. But you have very rightly pointed out that despite all this, there is a lot that still needs to be covered. So when Prime Minister met President Biden, he spoke about the trade as a key aspect of our engagement and how the goods and services offered by India and the United States were complementary to each other. Now, during the discussions between the leaders, they agreed on the need to deliver tangible outcomes in trade, and to that end, they have tasked their respective trade ministers with early discussions. So we are going to have trade policy forum that will meet before end of the year. We are going to have commercial dialogue and CEO forums in early 2022. The High Technology Cooperation Group, which has been lying dormant since 2014, is also being revived early next year. Now, these are important mechanisms to resolve outstanding issues and thereby reap the benefits of enhanced trade.
I also want to ask you, the Indian diaspora, it's not only been a pillar of strength on the two sides, helping build the Indo-US relations, but the fact is that they, play a very critical role in building corporations in the United States and also in the economic development at multiple levels. I mean, it's part of folklore that Silicon Valley has so many Indians, who bring that cutting edge technology. Where do you think we can shift gears towards a higher level of strategic cooperation and economic engagement through this diaspora engagement?
The 4 million strong Indian diaspora is not only a pillar of strength, but a number of leading Indians on the economic side have been strong advocates for India-US relationship. And here, I think it's very appropriate that I mention that during the second wave of the COVID attack in India, the diaspora played a very, very strong role, including the industry. This is much even beyond what the administration did. And here, of course, I want to remind everyone that right at the top of the issue in India, President Biden had picked up the phone and called Prime Minister Modi and mentioned to him that United States very clearly remembers that India came to US help when they required it. And President Biden mentioned that United States will stand shoulder to shoulder with India. All kind of assistance that was needed was rushed. And in that, the diaspora played a very important role. There was extraordinary mobilization amongst the business community, organizations like Business Roundtable, Chamber of Commerce, USIBC, USISPF. They all worked together, ensured whatever emergency supplies they could supply. And here I want to mention that many of these were led by the Indian Americans. Almost, as per our rough estimation, close to $500 million worth assistance was sent by the industry. And I've had interactions with more than 70 US CEOs. And again, it's remarkable how many of them are Indian Americans and they occupy leading ranks in the industry. This diaspora has played a crucial role in the US economic success and has made US a global leader in technology. They are one of the strongest bridges between our two countries. So it's not just quantity, but quality too. But I also want to mention to you that I have been urging the community here to connect their children with India, because it's important not only from emotional and cultural end, but also from economic point of view. They also decide on how India and the US relations would evolve in the years ahead.
Absolutely. Rooted in India and growing in the United States would possibly be the best formula. Ambassador Sandhu, it's been a fantastic engagement with you. I hope the audiences have enjoyed this as much as I have.